I spent $100,000 on my American Express in 2019. What in the world was I thinking? I checked out my American Express statement just the other day, and I don't want to say I shed a tear, but I definitely was confused. We're going to talk about how I did exactly what you're not supposed to do as you make more money, which is spend more money. Just because you make more money does not mean you should spend more money. Gonna look at my statement here and talk about all of the frivolous spending and my plan to cut back at least on 50%. I should not be spending more than $50,000 a year on frivolous things like on my American Express. So let's take a look here at my American Express statement and figure out where I went wrong and how I can do better here in 2020. Before we look at this statement, I just want to talk about, first off, why I'm making this video. First reason I'm making this video is because I was actually really surprised personally on how much money I spent on my American Express in 2019. Now, first off, that money that is spent on the Amex is not just, it's not actual things. Like, it's not my rent, it's not my bills, it's not my car payments, stuff like that. All of the actual payments come from my checking account. But my American Express is basically just like food, gas, pretty much anything and everything that's not like a actual tangible object. And that's actually really bad because I somehow spent over $100,000 on things that aren't really like important in my day-to-day, I guess. So that's what I'm focused on here, and I'm kind of sharing that with you guys, not so much to be like, oh, look how much money I spent, but more so to be like, what was I thinking and how can I be better about it and going forward. I don't know if I'll actually be able to be better. So once we actually look at how much I've spent on what and where, we'll kind of figure out what I can cut out and what I can reduce going into 2020. When I was younger, when I made just a little bit of money, I always thought that if I just doubled my salary, if I went from $50,000 a year to $100,000 a year, I would have double the amount of money. But what I figured out pretty quickly was basically as soon as I made more money, I would have more bills and more headaches, and I end up spending more money. So that's obviously a really bad trait and something that I've been talking about before, how I want to reduce that, where instead of me making $5,000 and thinking, okay, I made $5,000, now I need to go buy something for $5,000, I should really be focused on not spending that $5,000. So let's take a look here at the statement and figure out what I can cut out and what I can reduce. And also, let's just talk about life in general and how I can reduce a lot of these frivolous, and I say frivolous for a reason, because a lot of these things just aren't needed. And we're going to talk about it here. Let's go. All right, so you can see here my year to date on my Amex is $100,439. Now, I still got a whole month left, December. And, well, I got to buy presents and I got to buy things. So I'm hoping to keep this under $110,000 would be my goal. So let's look at what in the world am I possibly buying here. What is it that I'm buying? So first off is my top spender, my top merchant for 2019 was Captain Harry's Fishing and Supply. And I know exactly why that's so high because I've been buying a bunch of fishing gear. Now, the Lowrance Electronics was electronics for the boat. Amazon Marketplace, $4,624. The big problem with Amazon a lot of times is that it's so easy to buy things because they just make it like, hey, click buy, and you just buy it right then. So you don't actually spend much time to think about if you actually need something or not. You end up just buying it because you're like, ooh, I want to buy it. JW Lee is entertainment. West Marine is another boat place, spent $3,000. Some reason my Apple bill is really high. I don't know why that's so high. I should figure out why that's so high, I guess. Amazon again. Wait, Amazon Marketplace, Amazon LLC. So I guess there's more. I spent more at Amazon than I thought this year. Uber, $2,000 at Uber. Wow, that's pretty crazy. That's actually really crazy that I spent over $2,000 on Uber in 2019 so far. Lens Rentals is camera gear rentals. If you look here, merchandise and supplies, I spent close to $46,000. Transportation, I guess that's gas and everything. That's $17,484. and business services, fees and adjustment, communications, travel, entertainment, and other. So comparing that to last year, in 2018, you can see here, this is my 2018 kind of chart, looking at the difference. So last year, I did not actually, wait, how much did I spend in 2018? In 2018, I spent $82,000, and $4,565 was gas for the boat in 2018, which is not really showing up here because I don't know why. I just bought some gas the other day, spent $398 filling up the other day, another $399 filling up on gas, Uber, Venmo, and JW Lee again. So restaurant-wise, this is for, what is this? Before October and November 22nd. You can see spending close to $4,000 at restaurants, another $2,000 at supplies, merchandise. So obviously the bulk of the spending is coming from fishing gear and stuff for the boat that I bought this year, finishing up the boat. So that makes me feel a little bit better because I already knew that I spent a lot of money on the boat this year. But definitely, looking at stuff like Uber, spending $2,000 on Uber is pretty impressive. Because I feel like I really haven't spent that much money on Uber. I mean, the $225, I took an Uber from the Keys back to Fort Lauderdale. That was a bad idea. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know how I spent that much money on Uber, but I guess it just kind of adds up quickly. So Uber kind of racking up there. Amazon obviously racking up there as well. Always buying quick things, it's just too easy sometimes, like I said, to buy things on Amazon because you just kind of click and buy. So interesting to kind of see the difference between last year. Last year, you can see kind of not spending anywhere near as much. September spent $4,000 last year. This year spent $8,000. October spent $5,000. This year spent $13,000. November spent $7,000 last year, and this year spent $11,000. So definitely spending a lot of money at restaurants and places like that. Uber, but Uber really that's not even a bulk of it. So spending $100,000 this year on my American Express is way too much money to be spending there. Yeah, and it really comes down to, like I said earlier, the big problem for me is when I make extra money, a lot of times I end up just kind of spending that money on things that I like. Oh, if I could really use this new fishing pole. I've got $10,000 worth of fishing poles. Do I really need $10,000 worth of fishing poles? Yeah, maybe. I could probably take another $10,000 worth of fishing poles, but in general, I got to get to a point where it's like a give and take. I can't just be spending every penny that I make, and not that this is every penny that I make. So basically, like I said, this is $100,000 on my Amex. That doesn't include my rent, my car payment, my insurance, all those kind of things. Everything else comes direct deposit from my bank. So, you're looking at another probably $100,000 in expenses with everything else: rent, car payments, cell phone, electric, cable, all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking at probably like a $200,000 spend in 2019, which is way too much money to spend. Yeah, way too much money. So I really got to figure out what I need to cut out. Obviously, I guess I can't really cut out on the Ubers because I kind of need the Ubers when I'm, a little intoxicated, don't want to drive. So the Uber, although Uber cost $2,000 in 2018, a DUI would cost much more. So the Uber, that's fine. I probably could cut back on a lot of the Amazon things. I think a lot of times, like I said, on Amazon, you see something, you're like, oh, that's cool, I want to buy it, and you just click buy, and it automatically ships. I think I'm probably done for a while buying fishing gear. I've got plenty of fishing gear for now, so I won't need to buy any more fishing gear for at least a little bit of time. West Marine, I don't really need to buy much else for the boat. There's always little things here and there, but overall, I definitely don't need to do that. And then JW Lee, probably can cut back on that place as well. What do you guys think? $16,000 in 2019 at restaurants. Is that a lot? Is it a little bit? I think it's probably a lot. Definitely probably a lot there. And yeah, I definitely can cut back on spending and spend more money on investing. It's probably my best plan That's probably my best plan, actually. Cut back on spending, spend more money on investing. Right? That would be a better plan for me. So, like I said earlier, the overall thing is just because you make more money does not mean you should go and buy more things, which I am a bad example of that, because obviously I've been making more money and buying more things. I mean, 5 years ago, there's no way that I could have spent $100,000 on my Amex and been fine with it. Not that I'm fine with it, but I wouldn't have been able to afford it. There's no way I could have spent this much money 5 years ago because I wasn't making, over $200,000. But now, obviously, I'm making a lot more money, so spending $100,000 isn't going to make or break me, but it's obviously not going to help me because I'm not investing. Imagine if I would just, imagine if I cut half of this out and had $50,000 invested in the market or a rental property or something like that. So that $50,000 would have ended up making me money in the future, where now I'm just spending. So I really got to focus on cutting out a lot of this crap in 2020 and kind of figuring out, where all my money is going. Figuring out where all my money is going there. So there it is. If you guys have any comments, concerns, if you're worried about me, leave a comment down below. What do you guys think? What should I be cutting out first? Should I be cutting out the restaurants, the Uber, the fishing supplies? What is it? You know what I need to do? I need to go on Amazon and remove my credit card from Amazon, so that every time I have to buy something on Amazon, I have to enter the code, and it's going to make it a lot harder and a lot more time consuming to actually buy something. So a lot of times I won't end up buying something because I won't really need it that much. That doesn't take that much time to buy it. So there it is. Spending way too much money. The rule of thumb should be that if you're making $100,000, you should not be spending $100,000. If you're making $300,000, you shouldn't be spending $200,000. I really don't know the golden rule of thumb, but I'm thinking personally that if I'm making $300,000, my total spend on the year should be maybe $100,000. And then I should be putting $100,000 into investments, and then maybe $100,000 into just, taxes and overall living expenses. So there it is. If you guys haven't already, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I will talk to you guys later on. I'm actually really interested to see the comments down below. What do you guys think? What have I done? What have I been doing wrong in 2019?